What happened here, Merv?
A complete bloodbath, it looks like. Victims laid out surrounding a stone monument like in a fell ritual.
Well, what does it mean?
Let's get the facts, Kowalski. A goblin, wetter than most of its kind that I've ever seen.
Are they so moist, Merv?
Ain't my job to speculate. Something about a natural secretion creating a filmy protection against the harsh sun of their homelands, perhaps. Let's continue with the investigation, Kowalski.
Sure, Merv.
Goblin's name is Blamp. Says so on a little badge attached to his shirt. Common name, can't be sure of its family until we check the rings after the autopsy.
Rings?
Yeah, like trees, Kowalski. You cut one of these things sideways and you count the rings, then you feed them into a difference engine algorithm, and you can determine the family name of the goblin. Basic policing.
Oh, must have been asleep for that class. What else are we seeing?
He's not the only one. There's a human podcaster here. Eyes crushed, skull turned into a slurry. Family won't be able to identify him, but his name is Chris according to the ID rectangle in his purse.
You mean a wallet?
Don't be so heteronormative, and anyway, it's fantasy, so everyone carries their valuables in a purse.
That's so, Merv.
Basic policing.
Well, what happened?
From the position of the bodies and a splatter of blood, it looks like some kind of very specific argument about how to maximize the engagement yield and synergize resources to capture diverse audience markets. The goblin was very confused, but it seems like this podcaster, a type of human wizard, was insisting on holding a meeting at a suboptimal time. The perpetrator, a warrior named Eyecrusher Skulldrinker, had enough of it and decided to sacrifice the pair to his dark gods, hoping perhaps for some kind of boon. Receiving none, seeing as all religions are false, it appears the warrior fled to a different, more engaging podcast.
Wow, you got all that from just looking around, Merv?
Just basic policing is all.
Let's get a Helidia dog.
Alright.
I want to talk about is flossing. I really want to flossing.
Okay.
Do you floss?
Yes.
I don't mean the dance. I don't mean the child dance that children do. But I mean flossing as in your teeth you put the string.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I've got a little thing. I definitely care about that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, so I thought for most of my life that flossing was a big scam. That was invented by dentists like everything else that they invent. But very slowly, I'm coming around to the idea that actually flossing might be really, really good for you. Because I brush my teeth vigorously, and then I use one of those special flossing, it's like a little flossing triangle, and you like put it inside your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Anyway,
yes.
There's stuff in between my teeth after I've brushed my teeth, which also makes me think that God cannot exist. Because why would a merciful creator allow such a thing to happen? Because I'm already brushing my teeth, which is already an extra action that I have to take outside of the Garden of Eden because of the original sin, right? Like childbirth and stuff like that, but mainly it's brushing your teeth. And and I mean, it's terrible, isn't it? I don't like it.
I think it's secondary to the fact that most of the things that are really, really lovely to eat are also bad for your teeth. So you have to do more brushing.
Yeah.
It's,
or it's like that thing that like everything that is good for you tastes like garbage, and everything that is bad for you tastes amazing.
I agree. The sentiment, yeah.
Overall, this is a generalization. You know, I like to do that a lot. I want to actually, before we get started with anything else, I've been meaning to talk about this, and we record quite a lot in advance, so I haven't been able to. You don't listen to a lot of podcasts, I know, which is very weird because you are on one.
Yes.
I listen to a lot of podcasts. It's one of the main ways in which I consume information and media and things like that and learn about stuff. One of the podcasts that I have been listening to is actually a podcast that recently recommended us on their podcast, which is a podcast called Bathtub Season. Have you heard of Bathtub Season? You have heard of Bathtub Season because I have told you about it.
Yes.
Listen to these guys. So these are two guys from Ohio, I believe, which is a real place in the crumbling states of America. And they record from inside their bathtubs, which is why it's called Bathtub Season, the first part. And the season part is they talk about media that has perhaps not gotten a lot of seasons. So, for example, they talk about one of the, not the most recent, but the adaptation of The Tick before the most recent one, for example. And they sort of go through it episode by episode, and they have very interesting takes on it. So I would definitely recommend for you, if you're going to listen to one podcast this year, Aaron,
right.
Make sure it's our podcast, you idiot. Keep on listening to our podcast. We need more clicks. But if you branch out to another second podcast, that would be a really good one.
Well,
not just because they mentioned us.
While you were talking, I have tabbed across and found it, and I've got it set up and ready to go once we're done with this.
I heard you. I heard your clicks, you pervert. Anyway, so welcome, dear listeners, to Monumental Mythtakes today, right. A bonus episode, a mini episode where we talk about monuments in our world. We've only done one of these. Can you remind me what it is that we're doing?
So with Monumental Mythtakes, not only are we adding a very specific, often region, like a little spot that exists in our world, but we then place it within the history and context. So we are not just putting a place, we're putting a little bit of history and cultural context. I think monuments in the real world do that. They're little like pins that pin down culture, history, and location.
And we're not talking about, and we were not talking about like literal monuments. Like it doesn't have to be a literal monument, does it?
No.
That's great, because today's is not a literal monument and monumental structure or anything like that.
So I do have a structure, but it's not a monument.
You have a structure. Oh, interesting, interesting. Okay, I think we should start.
Just roll on in. Yeah.
Who?
Keep this mini episode mini.
Let's keep it mini. Let's shrinkflate it. No, that's not. We don't want that. No. That's bad. That's a bad connotation. Who should start?
I believe it's your turn to start.
Is it my turn to start? Okay, Aaron, I would like you to tell me about the artful dance of the slime-bellied administrator eagle in Watercolour.
Okay. I definitely need you to put that into a chat program somewhere, because it is longer than my poor weary brain can keep all together at once.
That is acceptable and okay.
Oh, good.
As you can imagine, I envisioned it to be a painting.
And I love that. Honestly, I think that's a really great idea. So I'm not going to divert too far away from that. The artful dance of the slime-bellied administrator eagle in Watercolour.
It sounds like something, I think.
It truly does. It truly does. It is, as has become pretty standard, it is a very, very, very crisp collection of words.
I just like words and putting them together. I wish that was my job.
Okay, so we've got to decide what a slime-bellied administrator eagle is and why it might be such a cultural touchstone later. I'm going with a slime. So you're sneaking a little monstrous myth take into a monumental myth take.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a lot. Okay. So
but isn't it good, because like we can double up, we can triple up on these things, and in later episodes we can just have a small myth takes, and it's got just everything in it. It's like an everything burrito.
Well, I'm not going to do a full monstrous myth take on the administrator eagle,
no, of course,
slime-bellied or otherwise. What I am thinking is that the slime-bellied administrator eagle is the symbol of a nation or a cultural group. I am going to make little keyboard noises because I am going to take a real quick look at our big season document, because I am trying to remember
the names of nations.
The one I'm thinking of.
Yes, have a look at that one.
Yes.
I've been working on a world map recently, and I'm trying to get better at understanding how maps work.
It's an art form in and of itself. So I was correct. There was one of the nations that you had come up with that mentioned specifically, well, okay, you mentioned sculpture and poetry, but Old Helidia, which is a thriving and vibrant nation known for its contributions to art in the areas of sculpture and poetry. But I like this notion that their art also extends to painting and watercolor. So I'm going to say that the slime-bellied administrator eagle has always been the national creature,
Mhm.
bird-like creature
Yeah.
of Old Helidia.
Brilliant. I love this.
So the Artful Dance is the Slime-Bellied Administrator Eagle is a particularly ritualistic animal. So, it has its mating ritual where it attracts its mate, but it also has a number of other significantly more mysterious sort of activities that it does. Some of them, like the successful laying of eggs, people sort of understand successfully laid egg. It does another little dance. The Artful Dance is one that only has superstitious understanding of why it goes about, and it's supposed to presage something in the world. It's sort of a form of fortune telling, like, the flight of a swallow.
An omen.
An omen, yes. So sometimes a slime-bellied administrator eagle will go out above the coastline of Old Helidia, and it will do this strange series of actions for an extensive period of time, and it is known as the Artful Dance, and it is supposed to presage some grand change within the culture of Helidia, of Old Helidia, I should say. Now, this watercolour of the Artful Dance was painted specifically to mark a particular and major change. I'm grasping here as we go, as we so often do in these mini episodes, as we're creating on the fly.
It's straight from the top of your dome.
Well, I have a nice, flat, smooth surface for that, so
yeah,
that does help.
Something could land on it.
Or take off.
Or take off. I think you're beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries, man. I think it's important to lift each other up as males.
It's true. It's true.
I'm told we're a growing minority. All the right wing YouTubers that I follow tell me that we're a dying breed.
I do like the phrase "growing minority." It's
growing minority.
it's remarkably positive. Depressing sentence, depressing phrase. All right, so I think we really have a certain number of major historical events, and I don't want to make it the fall of the Concordate. That's a little bit too obvious.
And possibly it was probably something that took quite a while. There probably wasn't just one thing that...
Yes, it's also a very, very long time ago. And whilst I understand that, paintings can last a rather long time, I still think something a little bit more recent. Now, Old Helidia, according to our notes, who's controlling Old Helidia?
Old Helidia is it not one of the independent nations?
It is, yes. It is one of the independent ones. I'm going to say that it is a celebration of the Unfettered League's successfully holding off the Unfettered League's invasion. In amongst the war with the Great Consociate, the Unfettered League decided to basically, they thought they'd just be able to annex Old Helidia, and they weren't entirely foolish to think so. Old Helidia is this, tired and exhausted nation. Its army was small. It seemed to be ripe for being plucked. However, as the invasion was beginning, the Slime-Bellied Administrator Eagle went and did its Artful Dance, and a leader amongst the Old Helidians rose and was able to thrust back the Unfettered League's invasion long enough for them to, during the whole calculus of war, decide, okay, well, we thought this was just going to be a nice, easy invasion. We don't really want to open up another long-standing grudge match whilst we're in the midst of our fight with the Great Consociate. So they sued for peace and have normalized relations, and Old Helidia gained a fragment of that spark of its old glory back. So this watercolor painted by I was going to say it's by a separate artist, but what I'm thinking is that one of the things that makes this event so memorable and so heroic is that the middle-aged noble who simply had a fairly middling position within the administration stepped into this military role and succeeded, but never wanted it. Like, he had the love of the people, he had the support of an army. Another individual might have changed Old Helidia entirely. And honestly, given that it's not the healthiest of nations, perhaps he should have, but he chose not to, and instead retired back to what he really wants to do and what he always preferred to do, painting. and he painted the Artful Dance of the Slime-Bellied Administrator Eagle. It is now a celebrated painting of not just the saving of Old Helidia, but also the respect for its original ways and returning to.
That's great, and it probably had this effect within the nation of growing its patriotism and probably strengthening nationalistic movements in that area as well. I think it's important to define who this person was. We need a name.
Yes, they do.
I remember I was just editing that episode that had Corson's cunning claw tick in it, and I did not remember the name I came up with for Corson was Jim Corson. Not very fantasy.
I think, given that Old Helidia, we mentioned, had a large proportion of halflings and elves, I think a halfling, a noble of a middle-aged halfling noble, I think the noble family name will be Lariat with 2 R's to differentiate it slightly from the actual English word. I'm not calling him Larry, even though I am now desperately tempted given your suggestion. Jim Corson, Larry Lariat.
Larry Lariat? Larry, L-A-R-I, Larry Lariat?
No, I'm part of... No, it's a bit too close to my name. My first thought was the chronicler for Alexander, Arian, but Arian Lariat. Yeah, it's a bit too close to Aryan as well.
GMPC, no. Everyone will see it as the self-insert it is.
Yeah, exactly right. Can't do that.
People will be like, oh, he just wants to be a reclusive genius painter that changes a nation and inspires a people. Whoa, what a fool.
I think Grimble Lariat.
Grimble Lariat. Okay.
Yes. 2 R's and an O in Lariat. So
yeah, fair enough. Okay. Grimble Lariat. That is quite far away from either of our names, so that's great. Yes. That's really good.
Okay.
All right.
There's much more, unless you've got something you want to twist or change with it. No?
I don't want to twist this one at all. Actually, I think this just works.
You challenged me on the name, so I had to come up with a name. We'll call that sufficient.
All right.
All right. I would like you to tell us about the Cobblestone Tower of Merit.
Can you put that in the chat?
Yes, I certainly can.
Is a merit like the word merit, like something like a meritocracy? Oh yeah, yes. It is. The Cobblestone Tower of Merit. That's very interesting. Cobblestone Tower.
In rather distinct from yours, whereas yours is remarkably specific. Mine is sort of almost banal in its... Not banal. It's a bit more generic. It's significantly more generic.
It is a little bit. I'm getting like 3 ideas hitting me at the moment. And I just have to sort it inside my brain of which one is the most appropriate one. So I'm going to talk through it a little bit as my thoughts are sort of coalescing into something that hopefully makes sense. So the Cobblestone Tower of Merit, I think, is something. I don't want it to be in Heliacon, the city itself, but I do want it to be associated with the Unfettered League. Specifically, because I don't know if we talked very much about, the various nations that actually came together to form eventually the Unfettered League, right? Like the various people. We sort of left that up in the air, perhaps for later. But I want to say that somewhere sort of in what would be considered the Unfettered League's heartland, where other than Heliacon, I suppose, where a place that could be seen as a historical or cultural center. I'm thinking not even necessarily...
Like not a capital?
Yeah, not even not actually a capital. I feel like that might be a little too important. Let's just say another major city somewhere in the lands.
Can I throw an idea at you?
Yeah, you can. Go ahead, buddy.
Cool. Well, my first thought when you were talking about that is, like, we know the Unfettered League's history comes from a number of like smaller nations and this luminarchist group of essentially
Mhm.
freedom fighters / terrorists. What if the
Freedom
first meeting of all these like different disparate groups of different Luminarchus cells, a couple of nations who don't want to be overtaken, they had a secret meeting in a barn in a relatively small town? Like it's no,
Yes. Yeah, that's brilliant. That's great. This actually fits in really well with my initial concept. So this is really great. I love this. Yeah. Okay. So let's say this is the important town of Strevok. Strevok. And it's spelled like this. Strevok. Strevok. So in the town of Strevok, it was not a very important town, and it was sort of a town that used to be somehow vital and wealthy, possibly because of mining. Eventually it sort of dried up, and what was essentially left is not quite a ghost town, but like almost crumbling stone buildings everywhere and things like that. This was the place for essentially, let's say, the declaration of the intent to form the Unfettered League at some point. It was in Strevok. The Cobblestone Tower of Merit was actually somewhat of a central monument in this place, and it was like a those, what are those things, those really tall towers to do when they do shot, like
like they drop molten steel to make shotgun pellets and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's almost essentially a giant chimney.
It's a giant chimney, essentially. And when the representatives of the various nations arrived, it was all in disrepair. Obviously, they were not stupid enough to go inside it and have a meeting there. They had a sensible meeting inside a tent, a large tent that they brought. But during the meeting, a great storm had started, and the thunder and lightning and weather was so loud that they were having incredible trouble hearing each other. And one of the things that happened was that the wind was so harsh that it upended the tent, and the people were left, in the storm. And the closest thing that they could go and hide in was the Cobblestone Tower. The Cobblestone Tower itself, it was good enough to obviously shield them from the weather and things like that. And they continued the rest of the meeting there, but it became sort of a symbol for something that stands for something and stands against something. And they saw that they called it the Tower of Merit. Because they thought that obviously their meeting and their declaration was a righteous thing, and that Cobblestone Tower of Merit exists still. It is still standing. It has not been propped up or anything like that. It is, so bits of it are coming off, but the sort of town that eventually grew up around it, again, the people there are extremely proud of it. People go almost on little pilgrimages to it to see the Cobblestone Tower of Merit, or they call it the tower that stood.
The storm became metaphorical for
it became
the
for
great
the struggle.
Yeah.
It became a sort of almost a supernatural metaphor type thing, where they use that as a way of saying, look, this tower can stand against nature itself, something that seems inevitable and unstoppable,
and yet all these different groups found shelter from the storm together.
And I don't know if that's a little bit convoluted, but
no, that's good nation building propaganda stuff. I love it. My only issue is that we don't have shotguns, or even I don't think ball bearings in our.
I think there's probably tall sort of towers like that for something.
kiln-like thing.
A kiln like that, yeah. Maybe it
yeah.
was a kiln, yeah. Maybe that's what it was, yeah. Eventually, it will crumble. So I wonder what.
Yeah, it's an interesting argument for the do the people of the Unfettered League try to? So presuming there's a superstition that nobody's supposed to.
That's right.
Repair it,
yeah.
But
because
at some point,
it's strong. Its heart is strong.
Yeah, but eventually, it is still just like a structure in an area that apparently gets some really nasty storms. It's eventually kind of fall over. People see that as an omen, or that
could be in the future, or perhaps secretly it is being propped up.
Well, that's I mean, there's a fun adventure for players. All right, we need you to go do some things to help prop up this place, but nobody can know about it otherwise.
Yeah. And of course, what is beneath the Cobblestone Tower of Merit? This place used to be a mining place, so dungeons. It's dungeons, Aaron.
It's always dungeons. Yeah.
It's always dungeons. If ever anyone asks what's under this structure in any D&D world, it's always a dungeon.
No, sometimes it's a cellar with giant rats that kills level 1 characters.
A cellar is a dungeon.
That's a fair point, well made. I sit corrected. It is the simplest of dungeons.
Do you know what makes me really angry is when I play a game of Dungeons and Dragons and the GM doesn't put any dragons or dungeons in there? Makes me so mad.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
It's egregious because I could play literally any other game with any other words in the title, any other animals or rooms, right? Like,
Yep. It's like playing Shadowrun without dashing through some sort of umbral environments. I don't know.
It's like having some kind of like Shadowrun in the sun.
Yeah, I mean,
sun
you can do it a little bit,
run,
but you've definitely got to have your running in shadows, or
you've got to have your running in shadows. Yeah. So we, I think we did it.
Yes.
I think that's it.
I think that's good.
So we did the Artful Dance of the Slime-Bellied Administrator Eagle in watercolor and talked about the Cobblestone Tower of Merit.
Yeah.
At just 30 minutes. My God.
Yeah. And we've got 2 new pieces of history. We've got a brand new location and a whole new critter in our universe. Yet another eagle.
I'll see how many eagles I can put into season 2. It's going to be 0. Actually, I've got I have an idea for a new creature that I'm going to populate everything.
Cool, good, excellent, love it. We are both trying very hard not to think too much about season 2, which is going to be a totally different setting. But we are definitely thinking too much about season 2 in a totally different setting.
I'm thinking about it constantly, but we have yet to record our final episode, mainline episode. Hopefully, is it this? Oh my God, is it this Saturday?
I think so. Yes,
the 16th. Yes.
Yeah.
So I've basically. Anyway, I'll talk to you about this later. We don't have to... the people want to know how the sausage is made, but maybe while it's being made.
Yeah,
not talked about the planning of making a sausage. That's ridiculous. No one does that.
Yes, no one talks about the making of the sausage.
Hey, before we go, I have a question for you about these mini...
answers. Maybe one of them will match.
That's so good. About these mini episodes, do you find it difficult to think on the spot?
No, I'm a professional GM. I sort of have to.
I find it very, very difficult to get my thoughts. I feel like I have either a lot of ideas, like too many ideas, or not enough ideas. And I find it very difficult to filter through them. So that's like, for me, that's something I feel like I have to work on.
It's interesting you say that though, because we just did it, and
just did it, yeah. But it's an internal strugel, as well, right? Like, I'm not talking because I think this is an environment that we've fostered here that we want to show people that, like, like it's okay if you don't. If you're just like, oh, I have no idea what to do, etc., that's okay. But at the same time, even like as I'm saying, could this be depression? Hold on, because I'm thinking, even as I'm saying all this stuff, my mind is roiling and reeling and trying to find the correct path. And I'm still not sure whether this was the correct path or not. I mean, now that I think I've had 3 minutes to think about it, so I feel like, maybe that did go well. But I don't know. That's just something I find personally challenging. when we're writing stuff down and when we're presenting it to each other and then going away and making modifications and stuff like that, that's a different structure that I'm used to, and it's sort of, I guess, not so exposed.
I actually find the process of having to turn my thoughts into physical words on the page to be more painful than simply coming off the top of my dome and discussing it with you face to face like this.
Okay, that's really interesting, man. I find that fascinating.
I always feel like I'm creating less in the 30 minutes that we might spend between Fable Fodder and World War Words than you do. Like I'm just spending half of it trying to cram this sort of amorphous mass of ideas into spidery writings on the screen. And I love writing.
I think I've become quite good at idea generation. I think that's something that I'm pretty good at. So when we do have that time away from each other, when we're making our modifications or additions to each other's bits of setting, I find that that's the easiest part for me.
The ideas,
except sometimes I'm like
putting it into written words.
Oh, the written word. Okay, yeah, maybe
like turning creative, cool sort of notions and then having to pin them onto a page / screen. That process is difficult. Like, not impossible, obviously, but I mean, it's
not impossible. You've done
it lots of times now.
Yeah.
But like what you're talking about now, from the outside looks easy. Like you spun some ideas and then out came a great notion.
Nice.
But you're describing your internal experience was pretty damn challenging. That's kind of how I feel when I'm writing stuff down. I'm like, yeah, I've got it, and it comes out okay. But good Lord, sometimes it feels like I'm hammering my brain against the inside of my own skull.
Well, that's good then that we can talk about it, because I do think some people do struggle with that kind of thing. Like they'll see something polished, like they'll look at things like Critical Role or other podcasts where everything is done to some kind of professional standard, but they don't see the work that goes into it, right? The work does go into it, and doubt goes into it, and trying different things goes into it. You don't see that. All you see is a polished product. Like when you go and watch a movie, you don't see any of the bad takes, I guess. Whereas
you don't see the player who's having a quiet day because they're just not feeling the creative juice.
That's it. It. Whereas here, I think it's important that like when we're editing, I'll sometimes edit out something that's just really irrelevant to what we're talking about. But if something I think is Bill Cosby, what a character. Anyway, But leave anything in there that is reflective of that creative process.
Yeah, the delightful pain of it.
The delightful pain.
And on that note,
like in Hellraiser.
Yes.
Yeah. And on that note, it is time to leave.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, dearest listener. This is Chris. Thank you for listening to this very special bonus episode of Mythtakes Happen. We are almost at the end of our season 1, and we hope that those few of you who have listened have enjoyed it as much as we have enjoyed the process of creation. And that is more or less what this project is all about: the creative process and engaging ourselves in a productive and regular activity where we can live out our fantasies of doing extra work on top of the work we already do to pay the bills. On that note, if you have a penny, then support us on Patreon. Please do so. Do you like the podcast? Please like and review this thing. I have literally no idea if we're doing a good job, and you could tell us. If you are illiterate, then a pleased grunt would do. Do you want a dungeon master in Adelaide? Ask Aaron. That's his real job somehow. Check out all the links in the description and know that we love you. Yes, you. You specifically. You know who I'm talking about.